If you're a car dealer, you probably think you own your customer data. I mean, it makes sense, right? You paid for every lead, you built every single relationship. But what if I told you that belief is, well, it's a carefully constructed illusion? Okay, let's dive into the hard truth about who really controls and, more importantly, who profits from your dealership's most valuable asset.
Let's just get this out of the way right now. You don't own your customer data. And listen, this isn't some wild theory to scare you. It's the hidden architecture of modern marketing, and it is running inside the systems you trust and pay for every single day.
So where does this all go wrong? Well, it boils down to a huge misunderstanding. For years, we've all been trained to ask the wrong question. Who has a login to my system? That's old school thinking. In today's world, the only question that really defines ownership is who controls where my data goes? Because, the second it leaves your system, you've pretty much already lost the game.
So let's see just how fragile this illusion of ownership really is. We're going to use a super simple action, something you probably do thousands of times a day, just sending a follow-up email. See, that email from your CRM doesn't just fly directly to your customer's inbox. Nope. It gets handed off to a delivery service, something like SendGrid. And that service wraps your message in all this tracking tech, logging every open, every click. But here's the thing. That behavioral data doesn't just report back to you. It feeds a massive global data ecosystem, basically creating a brand new permanent digital fingerprint for your customer out on the web. And this is where it gets a little chilling. Even if you fire that vendor tomorrow, cancel the contract, change all the locks, the data that's already been processed doesn't just vanish. It stays active in all that third-party infrastructure. You might have closed the door, but the ghost of your customer list is still out there, walking around the internet. Okay, now let's follow the money. How does this turn into profit for other companies? Vendors will look you right in the eye and swear, we don't sell your data. And technically, they're not lying. They don't have to. They use a much more sophisticated and frankly profitable method. We'll call it the lookalike loophole. This whole loophole is built around the idea of a lookalike audience. It's an incredibly powerful marketing tool, right? You upload a list of your best customers to a platform like Meta, and its AI goes out and finds millions of other people who act just like them online. But the real question is, who benefits the most from it?
And this is the trap, laid out perfectly. 1, you sync your hard-won customer list. 2, the platform's AI analyzes it, mapping out the DNA of your ideal buyer to create this whole new audience of prospects. But 3, and this is the killer, that audience is now available to any advertiser, the dealer across town, national insurance companies, aftermarket service shops. You've essentially just paid to create a roadmap for your competitors to poach your future customers. So let's just let that sink in. You did all the heavy lifting. You spent the ad dollars, you built the rapport, you earned that customer's business. And then you handed over the data blueprint of that success, which was immediately used to help your competition find the next one. You're not just a customer anymore. You're unpaid R&D for the entire automotive market. Now, this isn't about 1 or 2 backdoors being left open. The scale of this data leakage is it's hard to wrap your head around. To really get a sense of the true scope, let's look at the data plumbing, the nervous system really, that's powering a lot of these platforms. Twilio's Segment, it's a major data platform used by a ton of automotive AI vendors, has over 700 integrations. They call them destinations. Just think about that for a second. From your one system, there are over 700 potential doors your customer data can walk right through at any time, completely outside of your control. But it's not just the number of doors, it's where they lead. Your data flows to audience enrichment platforms like LiveRamp, which can turn a simple email address into a universal ID that follows your customer across the entire web, serving them your competitors' ads. It goes to ad platforms like Meta and Google to build those very same lookalike models we just talked about. And it gets stored in long-term data warehouses like Snowflake, where it can be analyzed for years to predict, for anyone who pays, when your customer is going to be back in market. I know what you're thinking. With 700 doors swinging wide open, how on earth is this legal? Well, the infuriating answer is that it's all perfectly compliant, thanks to some fine print buried on page 47 of the terms of service you clicked agree on. So under privacy laws like the CCPA, these platforms classify themselves as a service provider. This is a really critical legal shield. It lets them pass your data along to their own list of vendors. They're called sub-processors, as long as it's considered necessary to provide the service you asked for. And that right there, that is the genius of the trap. Because if the service you signed up for is help me find more customers like my current ones, which let's be honest, is the core promise of almost every marketing AI tool out there, then you have legally authorized that entire sprawling downstream data flow. Your own marketing goals become their legal justification for profiting from your data.
Okay, deep breaths. That's the problem. It is big, it's systemic, and it's frustratingly legal. But you are not powerless here. It's time to stop being a victim of the fine print. So, let's build your playbook to fight back, starting today with 3 simple, direct questions. First things first, I want you to email every single one of your vendors and ask for their sub-processor list. Under most privacy laws, they're legally required to give this to you. This simple request forces them to pull back the curtain and show you exactly where your data is going. Any hesitation, any refusal to answer, that is a massive red flag. Second, you ask this word for word. This question cuts right to the heart of the lookalike loophole. Notice you're not asking if they sell your data, you're asking if they use your data to train a model that benefits other companies. You want a simple yes or no. Anything else, any technical jargon or deflection, pretty much means the answer is yes, and your data is making them money. And finally, the ultimate test. This question separates the vendors who offer true data deletion from those who just remove your login. It forces them to tell you whether that ghost of your customer list is truly erased from all their partner systems, or if it's going to be walking the internet forever. And going forward, you have to get proactive. You need to demand a data processing addendum, or DPA, in your contracts that explicitly forbids this kind of data use. Insist on a true, full deletion clause for all systems. Ask if your data is isolated or if it's being pooled with data from other dealers. And if you're a bit more tech-savvy, you can even hash or scramble your customer data on your own servers before you send it to any vendor. That makes it unreadable to them for any other purpose. Look, it's time to change the question. We have to stop asking who has a login. We have to start asking who profits from the intelligence my data creates. And when you finally have the answer to that question, for every single vendor in your tech stack, you will finally understand what you truly own and what you've been giving away for free. Because in the end, it really all comes down to this one thing. Your customer data is the most valuable asset your dealership has, period. It represents years of hard work, investment, and trust. So, are you really treating it that way?